The least developed countries, LDCs, are a group of 46 nations that are vulnerable to the impacts of climate change and lack resources and capacity. LDCs are mainly pushing to bridge the wide financing gaps on adaptation, damage and loss, mitigation, and just transitions, alongside the resources required for strengthening the capacity of LDCs. Rohi John Manjang, the Gambia's Minister of Environment and Climate Change, calls for a clearer definition of climate finance.
You are indebted the poor nations whose carbon footprint is very low. So we say no, let's change and define it, because we are having some of them coming in the form of grants, some of them coming in the form of loans, because it's not defined. But if you define it specifically, you know that this money that is accessing or that we are looking for or that we are requesting is all climate finance and it is all grant. So it needs to be very, very clear. The definition should be very clear, and that's what Gambia's position is, to make sure that let us have a climate finance funding that is clearly defined, so that we can understand and remove the ambiguity of what is climate finance and what is not finance.
Less developed countries are severely affected by an increasing debt burden from climate finance resulting from climate crisis. They are therefore calling for increased grants in the form of climate finance to support innovative climate solutions. There are already $600 million worth of pledges towards the Loss and Damage Fund. Aissatou Camara is the Gambia's lead negotiator on climate finance.
We were really happy that during the first day of the COP, we were able to adopt the Loss and Damage Fund and pledges came in. So that was a really good signal for success of this COP. Now what we need to fight for is really to ensure that within this 1 year, whereby we'll be establishing a board for the fund, who will be working on operationalizing the Loss and Damage Fund. It will be very critical that we ensure this work is done as quickly as possible for us to ensure that by the end of next year, we are able to deliver funds to our people.
Now, how united and sustainable is the least developed countries group on negotiating for their needs? Minister Manjang explains.
Very united and very sustainable. We have our ministerial meetings before even coming to COP to agree on common ground. That tells you that we are already on top of things. That's why if you look at now, negotiations and discussions with COP is more organized, rather than each country going to battle your own field and then your own issues separately.
Developed countries are yet to deliver on their decade-old promise to provide least developed countries with $100 billion of climate financing. Now, least developed countries are forming their united front through their LDC group and are working on forming a secretariat with funding from UNIDO to fully operationalize their work to push for the things that matters to them in common. Reporting for QTV News from UAE, Dubai, I am Jennifer Sonko.